Chalo, accepted. Chalo, give a round of applause to our secretary Habib. He's actually enjoying doing this job. And just now he told me he's learned a lot by doing the role of a secretary, preparing the minutes of the meeting. One thing that surprised me, he has now memorized all the name of the members who are attending the meeting. So nice of you, Habib. Next, guest today. Only one guest? That's a guest speaker? No one else? Only one. Can you just rise? Yes. Just 2 minutes or 1 minute of your fabulous introduction.
Okay, sure. Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Tostmasters Suman. I've been a part of Tostmasters since 2017. I started off as a charter member of a college club called VVC Tostmasters in Mysore, which was also my college. So after that, I graduated and joined a company called First American India, and since then I've been a part of First Orient Toastmasters. I've taken multiple leadership roles within the club, and I've also been an area director on top of that. And today I'm very eager to look at everybody and listen to everybody speak while also deliver my educational session. Hope it makes sense to all of you, and all the best for the upcoming international speech contest. Okay, all the best and back to you.
Thank you so much. Hope you're not feeling nervous.
Not today.
Not today. Okay, friends. Today, our VP Education has allotted me very little time, hardly 3 minutes. How much time do I have now? 2 minutes, okay. Huh? As today's theme, which was shared by the first time at Tostmasters Day, Habib. He said a very interesting theme today. Warming trends. What does it mean? In particular, wherever I go, I do meet people who are very warm. And the best example that I can think of where we find warmth is the travel industry. You just call up a travel agent, tell him I want to go this place or that place, and just say how much of warmth they meet. They'll come all over to your place, they'll give you the package, and when you reach the property also, you'll be greeted very warmly. The only place in between is the airlines, where it's not a warming trend, it's a worrying trend. You go late, your flight is gone. They'll not allow you to go. You have 1 kg extra, 500 rupees more. No chance, no warmth over there. It's only worrying, right, Suman?
Yes, sir.
So that's the only place, otherwise all across in the travel industry it is warmth.
Even that they are right, you can't.
Correct. Huh? So there's a worrying trend. And to take this meeting forward, I'd like to invite one of the most dedicated and sincere member of our club. The first time I remember when he came up to the stage, he was in a congenial state. Statue. He couldn't speak in a word also. But today, he's like a flowing river. Well, let's see what he has got up his sleeve today. Please put your hands together and help me to welcome Tostmaster Habib. First time.
Thank you, Presiding Officer Santoshji. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you all to the NITK Bhive 248 meeting. My name is Habib, so I will be the TMOD for today's meeting. So, to begin with, we have a theme, today's theme, which is warming trends. I assume that everybody has felt that warming trend which has been in our NIT club. If you have known that what the warming trend which is there in the NIT club, that we are growing, the number of members are growing, increasing. We find people who are going to the district for speeches, evaluations. This is the warming trend which we have in our club. And all our plans and thoughts are congealing into reality. So, to begin with, To begin with, I have a few role takers whom I would like to introduce. The first role taker will be of a timer. I request the timer to please introduce yourself and tell us tell us about the timer role.
Thank you, dear Modi. My responsibility as a timer is to alert the speaker, whoever comes on stage, where I'll show the green card because you are completed the time which is assigned. Then when I go for the amber color, that will be saying that you have left a limited time, whichever is that. When I show the red, that will be saying that the time limit is of 30 seconds left.
Thank you very much. Now I request our accountant to tell a few guidelines of the.
Hello, all the Toastmasters, and very good evening to our special speaker today, Suman Somaya. My job is to keep my ears alert and active so that I can count the number of hours and I can also count the number of pass that are given and that are used by the speaker, starting from our SAA to the end of the that is session, whoever will be ending it. Till there, I'll be counting all this, keeping my ears alert. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmasters Tripura. Now I request our grammarian Toastmasters Meghana to say a few guidelines about the grammar.
Good evening. I am honored to be served as grammarian for today's meeting. I will support our members in enhancing their communication skills by tracking usage of language, grammar, and vocabulary. Our word of the day is congeal, which means transformation of liquid to liquid to solid. Example is water transforming into ice. I encourage you to use the word congeal in your speeches and the discussions. As grammarian, I will note any areas of improvement and acknowledge good usage of language. Thank you.
Just to refresh about Toastmasters, I would just like to tell you that the Toastmasters was started in the year 1924 by Ramses C. Smedley. Today we have grown and we have more than 270,000 plus members across the world in 150 countries. Plus we have around 14,000 plus clubs across the world. This is just to know about the Toastmasters is just a refresher. I know everybody knows this. Now to begin with, we have today's meeting. We do not have it's not like a normal meeting. We have only a educational session and we have table topic session. Only two sessions we have. And to begin with, I would like to say a few words about the educational session. He is the district ISC and table topics winner of 2024, and he is the past area director A3 District 92. He has been a Toastmasters for more than 8 years now. He is a chartered member of VVC Toastmasters Club, Mysore. He is an engineer by occupation. He finds purpose, will, and motivations to exist in life. He enjoys photography and annoying people. Nice to hear that. He is a great singer and musician and plays guitar. He joined Toastmasters FNF Feedback and Friendship. So please welcome Toastmasters Sumaya.
Okay, so now we will start annoying people. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Are you all looking forward to becoming world champions of public speaking for the year 2025? Yes. No, that's the attitude that I have. So here I am to explain, try to understand how we can decode the idea of how international speeches work. Do we have people who have joined online? No. So we are here trying to understand how an international speech contest works. What is the purpose behind the contest, and how we can all craft a speech which can potentially win an international speech contest, or fingers crossed, hopefully the world championship of public speaking. So what can you expect from this educational session? So I have a few things noted down. So firstly, we'll go through the introduction part where we understand what ISE is. Then another important aspect we all have to cover is what the ballot is based on which you are evaluated. Now, next is choice of the topic. Then we move on to see how we can craft a good speech. Lastly, I will talk about how we can present, or if you want, I'll share the PPT, no issues. Okay, so how you can present your speech in front of and before an audience, right? So summary and Q&A in the end. So let's dive into it directly. Let's not hold anything back. Let's go ahead. So first thing is, let us understand the purpose of what an international speech contest is designed for, what it is made for, right? So can I get some answers on why you think that there is something called as an international speech contest? It's a question. The question is, so why do you think that international speech contest within Toastmasters exists? So what do you think is the purpose?
The purpose of Toastmasters is to learn public speaking.
Perfect. Yes. Yes. Good.
Bring out the best people and showcase how exactly the good speech sounds like.
Great point, sir. There is one keyword, very good. Yes, ma'am.
To improve upon oneself if he happens to be a speaker, would like to be a good speaker.
Exactly. So all these points combined is pretty much the summary of why international speech contests exist. But one thing I would like to add on top of that is, in a competitive environment, we get to see innovation, right? Whenever you've seen a speech come up in a regular meeting, there is a competition where the speaker is trying to compete with themselves, right? But when it comes to a platform where there is a competition happening, at the international speech contest best example, we get to see that they are trying to select the speaker with the best speech in the world from the respective years. So that is why even in club level also, for that respective year, we see that this is the best speech that they have received. So now how do we define this best speech? I do it in a VIP manner. So V stands for vision, I stands for interaction, and P stands for presentation. So what do I mean by the vision of the speech is that how clear the speaker has come forward to put his thoughts to the people who are listening to the. So how effective is it, right? So that is the vision of the speaker and the speech. Then comes the interaction aspect, where how engaging were you to the audience. See, at the end of the day, even if you have the best speech in the world, if you're not able to propagate it with the audience, then there is no point, right? So interaction is an important aspect. And lastly, the presentation point. So how do you perform with mind, body, heart, and soul on stage? So that is another aspect, because everybody has a good script, but not everybody can deliver a good speech, right? So this is how I define the best speech. Now let's see what is that one overlooked aspect that at an international speech contest everybody misses, according to me, right? It is self-awareness. So how many of you here have heard people saying that I want to deliver a speech like Dhananjay Metiyarachi? I want to do it like Mohammad Katani. I want to do it like the person who won last year, Jocelyn, or the one before that, Cyril. So they have set standards from the past and they want to meet that standards. And in that process, what people try to do is they lose their own identity. They are not aware of their strengths and they don't use that, which becomes a disadvantage because you're trying to impersonate someone else. So this is the most important and overlooked aspect of ISC, and I request everybody here to take that as a metric but not as a goal, right? Now let's see, can you become the world champion of public speaking?
Oh, yes. There is not, why not?
Exactly. Very good. I like this. This is exactly why I put a no in the beginning before I said yes. Because it's all about attitude. First thing that we have to sort out is to believe that you can also become a champion. Because you can also become a world champion. Now, if you look at the list of world champions from the year 1938 to 2024, there has not been any registered Indian world champion who has represented a club from any district or region in India, right? But this can be the first year because we are looking at good prospects. We have all the necessary resources. We've had enough good mentors within our country as well, and we've had great speakers who have touched the finals also, not just the semi-finals, but the finals of World Championship of Public Speaking. If they can, we can. So that is the attitude which I want everybody to inculcate within themselves to become the world champion of public speaking. Now let's move ahead and try to understand what are the different levels we see. So I've categorized it into three parts, right? First part is club, and after that we have area, and after that we have division. The second part of this will be the district, the regional quarterfinals, and the world semifinals, right? So what happens post division? We start competing with other other divisions to become the district champion. Then in regional quarterfinals, what happens is you will have around 16, 17 different regions who are competing, right? And they make it into two parts. So at every contest, there will be around 9 regions which will be participating, and they will choose 1 or 2 people to represent themselves in the semi-finals. So after the semi-finals, then it's just the World Championship of Public Speaking. It normally happens only in the US for some reason. We'll try to bring it to India this right? So that is where we get to see or be the world champion of public speaking. Now let us understand the ballot. Let me know guys if I'm just rushing through too fast, okay? So this is something which I want everybody to pay close attention to, specifically. So what do we see here? We see a speech, a normal ballot. I've just cut out the most important part of it, right? So any international speech contest will be judged based on 3 categories. One, the content. Second, the delivery. And third thing is the language. And which one do you think has the most weightage? Visibly, it is the content, right? Then comes the delivery, then comes the language. So that means that any speaker who's trying to focus on the international speech contest will definitely have to have very strong content, and then comes delivery, which will be built on top of the content, right? So there are depth, there is depth to understand what are the specific areas, but I will not focus on that right now because I think you can check the ballot from wherever you are and you will be able to get the exact details on what they mean by every single point. So that is an available information, so I will not add much value to it. So there is something else that I will be pointing towards or giving focus to. So this is what to know while preparing for the international speech contest. You've already seen the ballot. You know that people will give you points based on content, delivery, and language. So now how can you try to get as many points from the ballot, right? It's not just about having a good speech. It is also about ticking the right boxes. Get your fundamentals in order, right? So what do I mean by fundamentals? For example, now if you have bad grammar, right? No, even if grammar or language is just around 20 points within the ballot, do you think it will leave a lasting impression? Do you think if your grammar is very bad, do you say it leaves an impression or it does not? Leaves a bad impression, exactly. So the whole idea is that if you get your fundamentals right, then I think you can focus on elevating what you already have, right? So I would suggest that things like vocal variety, body language, stage usage, structuring a speech, and having proper vocabulary. So these are things that I would request everybody to get in order before you start participating or contesting also, right? Because you can compete for experience, but it will not do any justice even if you win the world championship of public speaking. So it should not be in such a state where, okay, a person with bad grammar won the world championship. It won't be like that, right? So get your fundamentals in order. Second thing is to receive constant feedback. So this is something which people have failed doing. They normally have a mentor, but we don't reach out to our mentors at all. And this is something, receiving constant feedback is something you have to do not just in a contest speech, but in your regular speeches also. So what happens is when multiple perspectives are given to you, you will try to understand that probably a vision or an idea that you have put forth might not be able to propagate to the audience. Okay? So once you understand that, then you can start modifying it so that people also understand what you are trying to convey to them. So receive constant feedback. Now people will say, okay, how long or when should I start preparing for the contest? How early should I do it? Normally people do it 6 months in prior. People do it 1 year in prior. It depends on the person. I will not comment on how much time you have to take because it is left for every individual. But I would suggest give yourself good time so that you can receive feedback, you can deliver the speech enough times, right? So I would suggest that after getting your fundamentals right, get feedback. And the last thing is go further, right? I just used further instead of beyond because it is maintaining that F trend, right? So what do I mean by go further? So now that you have all your fundamentals right, that means you have great vocal variety, body language, or you have understood how to write a speech, you know how to script, you know how to use proper rhetorical devices within a speech. So once you have everything sorted, then you can decide on, then you can plan on how you can go further. Let me give you a good example of what I mean by going beyond or going further. For example, now how many of us know based on what we divide a stage with? So, or how many parts do speakers generally divide a stage with? 3 or 6, right? So normally what happens, or if it's a smaller place, let's do it, just keep it as 3 for now. Center, right, left, right? But what do I mean by going further, going beyond? Now you will say, I will start my speech from this side, second I will go here, and third I will go here. But when you have already mastered the idea of knowing where to stand on the stage, you can divide the stage much conveniently. And you can use much complex ways of utilizing the stage. For example, you can divide the stage into 9 parts after that. You start from the back, the extreme back, keep a, keep a prop in the center of the stage, you walk to the center, pick the prop up, move another step to the center again. So what is happening? You are creating depth, right? You're creating closeness. And this is exactly what world champion of 2014 Dhananjay Hettiarachchi did. He had a prop in the center, he walks, picks up a rose, and then he goes forward. So when you have your fundamentals right, when you receive enough feedback, then you can think of what extra can you do. Then how can I elevate the experience that people are getting, right? So this is what I mean by going further or beyond as a speaker. Now let's move on to another interesting topic. So now, has everyone had clarity? I mean, do you all have clarity on what the ballot looks like and what we need to do while preparing for the ISC? Keeping the ballot in mind? Right, sorted. Yes?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so next thing is choosing a winning topic. So this is what I personally do. This is a process which I follow, and I think this is pretty. It's going to be common among people who are amateur participants who are going to contest, right? First point is to choose something personal yet universal. What do I mean by that? So what do you understand out of something personal yet universal? Very good. Very good.
Shows that words have power.
Exactly, power of words. Right. An example is choosing themes which people relate to. For example, as you said, overcoming things that you have a problem with. People power. What I mean by people power is, for example, traits which people have, like kindness. Right? When you talk about kindness, you can relate to exactly that old grandma who was sitting on the side of the road who offered you a fruit. Right? So, people power are things which are rooted out of characteristics of people. And the last thing is lessons learned. Like normally, whenever a speaker comes on stage, they always want to tell you something that they learned the hard way, right? So they're trying to make something easier for you, which they've gone through with a harder process. And what not to choose. Niche topics. Niche topics which only you have experience or proper understanding with. Now, if I were to say that, okay, I have 5 years of experience within the software industry and cloud applications and cloud management, particularly cloud computing domain. So if I come up and say, okay, today I'm going to talk about a difficult task which I faced while migrating from server to serverless technology, I'm pretty sure people will walk out without hesitation. So avoid choosing niche topics, which does not make sense to general audience. Second thing that I want to talk about is incorporation of something unique, right? So now we said that there is something personal yet universal. So what do I mean by that? Is something which everybody knows. For example, have you all heard of the phrase, failure is the first step to success? You all heard this, right? So this can be personal to you, yet it can be universal, correct? So how do you make something unique out of something which is already so prominent, so predominant?
Take a personal example.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's good that you're telling me. Please. You can, yeah, that is a good way to do it. You bring something unique for failure, the first step of success. So probably you bring a step and show that this is not the actual step or something like that. So you try to innovate, right? But I would do it in this way. So if failure is the first step to success, but determination is the ladder. Now see, there is a twist. When I say failure is the first step to success, everybody are like, yeah, I've heard this before. But when I say determination is the ladder, that is when you take it a step beyond. That is where it becomes unique, right? So do you want to try this one? Time and tide waits for none. How will you make this unique? Ah, yeah, that also you can do. You're adding two codes together, right? Yeah, that's also good. Innovative.
Diamond type is for
Okay.
So when there is an opportunity,
You have to take it.
just make exploit that and
Yes, that is a good way to look at it. Yeah, that I understood the logic. I didn't get the exact words, but I got the logic. Yes, yeah. Please. Yeah, okay. But I think that comes back to the same point. That time and tide waits for none. But good. So you see, right? There you are.
Focus and time and tide waits for none.
Uh,
Focus is the crux of the whole thing.
exactly. So you can say time and tide waits for none, but focus. Okay. But if I were to do it, I did this. Right. So what are we trying to do? We are giving an extraordinary twist to something that is ordinary. So what I was trying to mention in that subheading is also the same thing, that you make the ordinary extraordinary. So that is a great way of writing a good speech, choosing a topic and making sure that it is enjoyable by the audience as well, right? So here you're achieving two things. One, you are giving it a brilliant twist, but on top of that, you are also making sure that the originality of the quote is not lost, or originality of the concept is not lost. So that is one way how you can do it. Now, the most important thing on choosing a winning topic is you will have to kiss And kisses, everybody knows it, right? So keep it short, keep it sweet and simple. So now we've seen that normally any contest speeches that we have seen so far, any good contest speech is understood by everyone. That is one thing which we've always seen, right? That no, there has never come a speaker or a world champion who has spoken about something that nobody understood, right? So the idea is to have complexity, but refine it to an extent where it seems simple. So making difficult things look simple is a crux of how you can choose a topic also, right? Take things, very simple themes, like for example, something that includes elements of emotion, curiosity, or and definitely needs to have clarity, right? So you need to have elements of emotion, there should be curiosity and clarity. So as sir already mentioned, right, that power of words. Power of words is not just the speech title, but also the same theme based on which the speech was written, right? So simple. Power of words, done. I see something. You all know the speech. I see something is by Dhananjay, and we all know the speech. And it is also based on that simple theme called I see something, right? Now, but the last one is really nice. You are stronger than you think. It is not going to be a speech title, but it is a theme on itself. And why I chose this particular quote or phrase is because it has an element of all these 3 points which I wanted to explain. There is emotion, strength, right? There is curiosity. Then you think, what is the pretext to that? We get curious, right? And there is clarity. You are stronger than you think is very clear. It's very simple to understand. So choose themes which have emotion, curiosity, and clarity, right? ECC. Now let's move ahead to how to craft a speech, contest speech. It is a rewarding, slow, and painful process, right? But at least for people who do it regularly, I don't think it's going to be slow. I'm going to cut that later. Okay, because for me at least, it's a very slow period because I don't give speeches that often. So, what can you do when it comes to crafting a speech? First thing is you know what all do you have right now? You have a topic, correct? So you know what to do as an overall thing because you have to keep your fundamentals straight. Then you have to get feedback, and then you know what I'm going to do when I'm on stage. I'm going to take this beyond, right? So you have all these aspects. You have chosen a topic. Now, how do we construct a speech out of a chosen topic, right? For that, this is it. We need 3 details. First, to start with, I suggest 3 details. Personalization. Now you have chosen a topic. For example, it may be something on the lines of I'm an engineer, but I'm disappointed with what I'm doing. maybe a theme. Very simple to understand, very emotional, right? But let me give you an example of what you can do with this. So how you can add personalization or how you can begin a speech with personalization. So this is not the beginning, this is not the starting of the speech, but this is more like the core of the speech where you have inculcated the theme which you want to speak the audience to, speak to the audience with. So this is a simple passage about an engineer and his passions. Since I'm an engineer, I chose this. Right. So what am I saying? That being an engineer, I'm used to fixing things and making sense of complex systems. But life doesn't always come with a blueprint. So what am I trying to establish? That I am an engineer. I have a lot of passions, but I am having difficulty in maintaining the passions. But maybe the meaning is that in the mess, the questions and the small joys along the way, it's messy. That is the whole idea. Saying that my life is basically a mess. I'm an engineer, but I don't know what to do. Right? So what have you done? You have built a whole idea about your what you want to tell the audience, right? You want to talk about your passions, and you have done that. You have done exactly that. Now, will the audience be able to relate with just this much? No. For that, there are 2 elements which are required. One thing is what I call a revelation, a revelation or justification. I will not say and justification because most of the speeches which I have seen or listened to, right, they either come up with a revelation or a justification, right? What does a revelation mean? A revelation means that you were in a specific situation and a eureka moment happened where you understood something, so something revealed, right? So that is revelation. And justification is probably you understood that this was the situation, but why is this situation like this? You justify, you give reasoning to it, right? So there are two elements to it, either revelation or justification. It can be in both ways. So I've chosen revelation as the theme. So to the same passage or to the same script, now I am adding a revelation, saying that, okay, so what was my script about? Saying that I'm an engineer, but I'm finding difficulty to maintain my passion, right? So one day after reading the book Abracadabra, which I just made up, I realized that to keep my passion burning, I need to organize my time and efforts better. So what becomes a revelation? Me reading that book, right? So once you bring in that revelation, there is now clarity, right? So you are saying that I was so and so, then I did this, then I understood this. Okay. Now, why should people listen to you? Now you are telling, okay, that I did that, I read Abracadabra, now I'm a Superman. Why do people want to listen to you? That is where the third point comes in, where you generalize the message which you have, right? So at the end of the day, you have to personalize, you have to bring in the revelation or either a justification. That can be done in multiple ways. That eureka moment, what you bring in the speech, right? A crux of the speech, what we call, can be built in multiple ways. There can be suspense, whatever you want, but then you generalize. So how am I going to generalize? This is just a quick example. So now I'm going to say to anyone searching for balance in life, don't let life's chaos drown your passions. Organize, prioritize, and make space for what sets your soul on fire. Right? Very simple. Now you saw what I did. Firstly, I bought my own problem. Then I found my solution. Then I generalized the solution in such a way that even people can solve their problems. Now, if you see, this is not only about passions, right? When you see that last line which says organize, prioritize, and make space for what sets your soul on fire, not necessarily your passion, right? Even at your profession, I want everybody will want to organize, right? So generalize the message. There are two layers to it. First layer says about the specific problem you faced, and the second thing talks about a general problem which everybody faces, right? So that is one way on how you can add generalization. So we had three details, right? What were they? Personalization, revelation. So that was getting the core of your speech, right? That is how you constructed the body of your speech. Now, how do you enhance your speech, right? Because normally what do people say? That you have to grab the attention of the audience in the first 20 seconds or 30 seconds. And in the end, you have to leave a powerful impact for people to take your message back, right? So how will you do that? Normally, how do we do that? With introduction and conclusion, right? So that is a basic speech structure which we always follow. So in context, what can you do? How can you incorporate that? In the same passage, now don't bother reading so much. This is the same story which I already mentioned. That, okay, first thing I told you my problem, then I found a solution, then I told the audience how they can incorporate this in their lives. So what I did is I added two layers to it, an introduction and a conclusion to give it weightage, because the entire story is already here. What you're saying is just a repetition of the same points, right? But now when I'm saying that life often feels like a puzzle, you're bringing the theme into your speech. And when there is a theme coming into your speech, it makes things complicated and simple at the same time. How does it become complicated? Because you're adding a theme and then you're relating it to your story. But how does it become simple? When your theme is relatable. Now puzzles we would have all played, and you can all relate putting pieces of a puzzle together, right? So when life often feels like a puzzle, especially when you're juggling a demanding career, personal growth, and search for meaning. So this explains the entire story. What I'm trying to tell, this gives that entire gist. But now, last in the end, what I do is, whether you're an engineer, artist, a dreamer, remember your passions are worth fighting for. Take one step at a time and let the process guide you. By saying take one step at a time and let the process guide you, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring a call of action. I'm call for action, right? where I am urging people to take that one step. Right? That is very important. It is not necessary. It is not just important for you to bring in a concept, a theme, a message, but it is also important for you to make people feel like doing what you do. That is what is required in terms of your introduction and conclusion. I call it the hat and boots. Right? You can exist without that, but with that, I think you look a little more stylish. Right? So now, how do we elevate? So what have we done? Now we have whole speech. If you observe, we have introduction, we have body, we have conclusion. Within the body, we have a problem, we have a solution, we have a message, a learning, right? Now, how do we take this to a contest level, right? So we did that. We normally do it with rhetorics. I have put rhetorics under one bracket because I didn't want to unnecessarily complicate it. So, what are rhetorics in my understanding or in my dictionary? Rhetorics are anything that enhances or elevates the whole speech. So, this can be saying very simple things in a beautiful way, right? It can be, yeah, that's what, as I said, wordplay, our audience interaction, humor, suspense, characterization. So, can you give me examples of audience interaction? Asking questions, asking people to raise hands. All these things are interactions with the audience. Do you guys know? This is a nice question. So, do you guys know the difference between audience interaction and audience engagement?
It's going just to ask them to come and perform something.
Not necessarily. So now, yeah, you have an answer?
Yeah, it's like it's actually like you take the
Okay.
engagement is like make them do something in a team.
Engagement could be an act. Sorry, sir.
Good. So why do people bring that activity in? Is to, yeah, I got the answers. Were good answers. You've already got it. Maybe. But a simpler way of looking at it is, now you are a speaker who is speaking from 5 to 7 minutes. From 5 to 7 minutes, are the audience looking at you and listening to you? That is engagement, right? To make sure that an audience is looking at you and listening to you for 5 to 7 minutes is engagement. And the different things you do with the audience is the interaction. Because in engagement, you will not have direct interactions with the audience. You are just doing what you want to do. It can involve interaction, but it is not dependent on the interaction, right? So rhetorics are a very strong way of elevating. So you remember I mentioned that you have to go further or beyond. This is exactly how you do it. You can bring characterization, suspense. Let me give you a quick example. Sprinkle some fairiness. Now these are highlighted points which I have used as rhetorics. Okay. So firstly, what am I doing? Life often feels like a puzzle itself is a metaphor, right? So especially when you are juggling a demanding career. Now what are you saying by juggling? That's another reference, another rhetoric. And here you bring in this part where you're saying one day a friend asked me, why do you overthink everything? I laughed and said, because even my thoughts need debugging. What am I doing there? Humor. I've incorporated two things at the same time. I've incorporated an interaction, characterization with one friend of mine, and I've brought in humor. Right? So that small giggle which everybody did, right? I'm pretty sure that did not happen like this lesson for now. So I'm pretty sure you did not get the same experience when I delivered it the last time, right? Because it had a paragraph, it was just straight to the point, right? So these are things what make a speech really engaging, right? And for people, if they want to listen to you for 5 to 7 minutes, then they should feel like there is something important in your speech. And even though there is something important, having that element of an interaction or rhetoric will only enhance the experience so that they pay attention better, right? So last also, there's another joke in the end that life is a lot like coding. Sometimes all you need to do is hit refresh and start again, right? Because it's possible, right? So you can use such things like this. I think it's a simile, if I'm not wrong. Life is a lot like coding. So you're comparing one thing to another. So the whole idea is to, it's correct or wrong? Gra- I've not gone through grammar in a long time. Probably my primary school was last, high school was last. Exactly. So adding rhetorics is another strong way to make sure that you have what it needs for a speech to be engaging. Along with having good content, you have to make sure the content is engaging, and you do it by elevating your speech with rhetorics. Now let's move ahead to refining a speech. Now, what do we have? Now, what do we have is just the first draft of the speech. You agree with me that today I just sat and I sat with everybody from NITK and I wrote a speech, and that's about it. Now, this speech is only limited to the audience of NITK. How do I bring it to the world? Right? So, you have to go through your speech first. You have to internalize and try to understand where the speech is making sense and where it is not. So how you can refine a speech and what you can get it down to, I normally look at the word count first. So what is the most effective and the most pleasant word count that we have seen in speeches, contest speeches or speeches in general is around 750 to 850 words. That's about 100 to 125 words per minute. Right? So when people speak at that speed, it is comfortable for the speaker to focus on everything else holistically and also for the audience to grasp every single point the speaker is speaking, right? It's 750 to 850 words per minute. No, no, this is for the entire speech. Yeah. Right.
And 100 to
100 to 125. And if you're a slightly faster speaker like me, then probably 150 to 170. Right, but on top of that, it'll feel like people are rapping, like yeah, it should not, it should not be like that. It should feel pleasant for someone who is listening to you. And the second thing that I have for all of you is to paraphrase. What is paraphrasing? A simple way of understanding paraphrasing is to say something better. That's it. Let me give you an example. It's a quick activity for all of you. Okay, so there are B1 and B2. B stands for before, right? So can you paraphrase this sentence into something shorter? Both the sentences. Maybe we'll have volunteers who can try that. Okay, good. That's simple way of saying it.
Junk food leads to obesity and heart disease.
Okay, but they're saying it's not junk food, it's too much junk.
Obesity and heart disease.
Yeah.
Obesity and heart disease are the outcome of eating too much of junk.
Yeah, but I think your sentence is going longer than this existing sentence.
I have to.
Right. Yeah, you have to shorten it. Like paraphrasing is no, the two are different sentences. First sentence you have to paraphrase, and then second. Don't have to merge both of them, not necessarily. First sentence is eating too much junk food can lead to health problems like obesity and heart disease. Yeah. Sir got very close. Sir has got very close to what I have written actually. Yeah. Okay.
Eat junk food, get fat, and end up with heart.
Perfect. I think all of you almost got a gist of it. That sometimes while paraphrasing, what we do is we bend the rules of grammar so that it gives an impression, it gives a lasting effect. So what I have done is this. So too many burgers equals pants don't fit, heart goes oops. Right? So what am I implying? That people get fatter, they become obese, and their heart starts collapsing. So too many burgers equals pants don't fit, heart goes oops. Done. Second one. I like the second one better actually. So when you're saying studying regularly is key to doing well in school and achieving good grades. Simple way of saying, hit the books or grades will hit the floor. What are you trying to? So it's also a sense of humorous, right? It's also humorous in a sense. So that is how you can simply paraphrase a statement. So it is not grammatically intact. If you observe it, it is not particularly grammatically impactful or intact. Because when people look at it, if some particular about grammar looks at it, they will not agree to this point, right? But it does the job. And being able to understand where you can bend the rules of being able to speak or being able to script or being able to deliver a speech, everything, that is where you show your prowess as a champion, right? So these are some things which I would suggest people to do. Paraphrase wherever you can, where it adds value. Yes. Okay, now, yeah, exactly, because
They really said bend the grammar to make it much more worse.
yeah, so I mean, see, I will not say it is just for shortening it. It is to give a better effect. That's it. Okay. So then comes something called as hard deletion. I've coined all these. I've coined all these phrases like for nobody's business. But what I mean by hard deletion is if it doesn't belong there in the speech, no matter how good it is. And have you all put a quote in your speech before where you feel that it's so nice, but it simply does not add any value to the speech? Everybody has been there. So let's just go through another small hard division passage sample. So traveling allows us to explore new cultures, meet diverse people, and step out of our comfort zones. It broadens our horizons, teaches adaptability, and creates lifelong memories. I travel because I am rich. Whether it's a weekend getaway or an international adventure, traveling enriches our lives and helps us appreciate the beauty of the world. And travel to me is as important as emerging from a cocoon to a butterfly, right? So the intention of this passage is only to inspire people, to encourage them to travel. That's all, right? It is just to inspire and encourage people to travel, basically. But what am I doing with so much? So how I would remove something which does not make sense? There is the fact, or not a fact. It is the opposite of fact. It's fiction that I travel because I'm rich, right? So that does not inspire anybody to travel, because if somebody does not have money, then they will look at this and they will be demotivated. It does the opposite of inspiring people to travel, right? And another thing which I felt can be removed is traveling to me is as important as emerging from a cocoon to a butterfly is, right? Why is that even there? It's not necessary. It is not adding any specific substance or value. So this is,
The last line actually.
it is good.
As important as emerging from a cocoon.
Yeah, it is good, but is it needed?
No, it does give a nice punch to the whole passage.
Right, but see again, but I feel that, see, why I particularly put it there is that, yeah, it is subjective. Yeah, it is subjective one, but also particularly what I am trying to do is I am trying to inspire people to travel, right? And this only shows my interest towards traveling. It becomes a rather selfish endeavor. And I'm saying that it is important for me. That is why I want it to be
Maybe
important.
then remove the to me. Traveling is as important as emerging from a cocoon.
That is possible. Good point, sir. That's a good point. You can do it, but again, depends on how much words you have, how much liberty you have as a speaker who is developing the speech. You can do that. That I agree with. Right? Yes, sir. Yes.
It is a different meaning.
Okay, yeah. It is true.
Traveling emerging from one direction.
Correct. It definitely is. Because see, no, that's what. See, again, one, I felt it is out of context. One, it is out of context. And see, if you want to give sense to any statement, you can definitely do it. Just a few modifications, just like Samacha, we can do it and it will fit in. but it is not necessary. But just because something is sounding good doesn't mean it has to be there, right? So with that note, how do we create or how do we craft important our world champion speech? The last and the most important point is to deliver your speeches, record it, watch it 1,000 times, and then fine tune it. Because as I already mentioned, it is slow and painful as a process by itself. But the more you do it, the better you get in terms of evaluation, perspectives, and ideas, right? Because this happened to me in my speech itself. There was a speech, and I was ending it saying that uh, music for me is something on the lines of everybody has a dream and they have to achieve it. But my speech was about music, but I'm ending on the lines of dreams. Can I get an extra 5 minutes, please? So I'm almost done. I just have one more or two slides, right? Okay. So as I was saying, that my speech had an ending which was related to dreams, but my speech was about music. So I said that everybody has a dream, and you have to achieve. You have to wake up and achieve it. So then, while delivering the speech, one day out of the blue, it occurred to me that since I'm talking about music, why not bring auto tune as a idea? So I said, dreams don't have auto tune. You have to tune them to reality, right? So this is something which I got because I delivered it once or twice, right? So I request everybody, if you're competing, practice, deliver, re-record, fine tune. That is the best way to go, right? Now, last thing is how to present, and I will not focus much about it because the overall idea which I wanted to tell everybody was about how you can craft a good speech, right? Now, how to present, it is not a synchrony of mind and body, but it's a conflict between the mind and body. And every time there is a conflict, good things arise, right? Because every time a war has happened, great innovations have come. People have died, that is there, sad, but definitely things that we could not have imagined have always come because of conflicts. And this, I would suggest that everybody feel that it is a very natural process where you start speaking and your hands start moving. But that is not how it should be. Every movement that you have on stage, I would suggest should be planned. I don't do it, but I would suggest everybody that if you are delivering a speech, plan your movements, be it your hands, be it your body. So have that synergy, or I would not say synchrony, but definitely conflict between the mind and body. So now how to present, I have just 5 different things and one advanced tip. So I'll just cover it in one slide itself. I didn't want to focus too much on it. Mastery over your appearance. First thing is, when someone looks at you, they should feel like you are a world champion. So dress according to your speech. I am a musician. That is why my speech was about music. So that is why I brought a guitar as a prop. It added to the appearance as well as the functionality of my speech. So dress according to your speech. If you're using props, use it accordingly. And mastery over voice. The most important thing according to me is the pace itself, because you need to know when you can speed up and when you can slow down, right? And two other things are your pitch and your punch. By pitch, I mean if you're being sad, you definitely go, oh my god, what happened? But if you're happy, you just shout out and you go, right? And punch is the emphasis aspect of it. It was on a P trend, so I changed it to punch instead of emphasis, right? So you need to know your pace, you need to have your pitch in order, and you need to have punch. You need to know where to emphasize. Now, if I tell that fellow Toastmasters today, I will give everybody 100 rupees because all of you are amazing people. Like, people might not observe the fact that I just said 100 rupees, right? Because they might feel 100 rupees is less. But fellow Toastmasters today, I'm going to give 100 rupees. 100 rupees. People feel that happiness when you emphasize on the right point, right? So make sure that you have a hold on your pace, pitch, and punch. Mastery over your body. Mastery over your body is basically body language. This, I think, comes under the fundamentals itself. Eyes, make sure you see everyone. Face, you express according to your script. Hands, you move them, don't move them unnecessarily. Torso, your entire body also needs to move, right? But at the end of the day, if you are not comfortable on stage, you will not be able to deliver a speech which will convince you itself firstly, not the audience, but you, right? And lastly, your feet. Know when to move, don't fiddle around unless your speech is about dance. Right? So then comes something called as mastery over stage, where you place your prop also matters, because I've seen this happen. Many a times, some people have a prop in their hand. For example, I delivered a speech about smoking, so I had a fake cigarette in my hand. Okay, and throughout the entire speech, it was just in my hand, it was restricting my hand movement. I did not realize, my evaluator told me. Right? So don't put yourself in such situations, know where to place your prop. Then comes the other important aspect, which I already mentioned, is how to divide your stage. Know how to move, know where it creates additional impact. So you need to make sure that the left part of the stage, or the left part of the audience or the right part of the audience both feel equally engaged when they are delivering. For that, you need to divide your stage. And there is this mental inclination that speakers, right-handed speakers always go to the right and left-handed speakers only go to the left. So this is a subconscious thing. And even right now, if you observe, I'm more here because I can see the speakers here. There are two speakers here, but I'm not even looking at it. M and W technique is very basic, sir. M and W techniques are very basic. That is, and it is not. It is, if you think of it in a competitive level, you should not restrict yourself to any sort of particular. If this makes sense in this part of the stage, only then, right? If your speech, see, because Louisa delivered a speech on a wheelchair right now, the current world champion, right? So only in the last part of it she stood up, and that created an impact, right? So knowing when to move and knowing how much to move is more than. Don't have to stick to any template as such.
So I was referring to the audience engagement, eye contact. Use the M technique to start from here, go up to the end.
Yeah. That you can do, sir. Unless it does not. See, yeah, because normally when people speak, right, if you after a certain point they ditch all the techniques because then it becomes a very natural thing. Like when I look at the person who is there in the back or in the front, it becomes a very natural thing for me, right? So that should come pretty naturally when you are delivering a speech. I would not suggest that eye contact or just with the audience particularly, right? It should not be driven by anything. You should look at people and they should look at you, right? So that is something which I personally feel. Yeah, last thing that I want to add here is mastery over the audience. So as I already mentioned, these things we already discussed also, right? Knowing the difference between interaction, management, and relation with the audience, right? So at the end of the day, people should feel like they relate to you. When I tell them a call for action, they should feel like doing it, right? So have mastery over the audience. This comes by practice. And the advanced tip which I have, which is the last point, I promise. An advanced tip is to achieve credibility, originality, and believability through repetition. Now, why did any speaker or why did the president of this club invite me to come and speak over you? He has heard me speak before, that's why, right? So there is a sense of credibility that this person has listened to me speaking before and he found some value in what I speak, right? So create that pattern where it reaches to a point where even somebody who is not familiar with you should be able to see that, okay, this person is making some sense. And that is not something I can explain. That's why I've kept that as an advanced tip, because this is something which you can't explain, right? So you should feel original, you should feel real when you go on stage. So I would urge everybody to create their own identities when you come on stage. Okay. So with that note, just a quick summary on what we did so far, and we can wind up. So we have in the ISC something we call the best speech, right? How do we identify a best speech? Through VIP. V stands for vision. I stands for? Oh, nice. P stands for? Presentation. Perfect. And what you need to focus on, or something that is very overlooked at times, is know your strength. Okay. So third thing, okay, next thing is for the ballot. We need the 3 F's: fundamentals, feedback, further or beyond. I just reused that. It's okay. Right. Then when it comes to choosing a topic, make sure it is personal and universal. Right. Second thing is have a unique view towards the topic. Try bringing in something fresh for people to listen to. And the last thing is keep it. Okay. So lastly, we have okay, last two, three things. That's it. So coming to crafting a speech, what all do we have to worry about? Developing a speech, right? When it comes to development, we need three things. What are those three things? No. Developing the first part. Yeah. You need to personalize. You need to bring in a revelation or justification. Then you have to perfect, right? And when it comes to enhancing a speech, what do we do? Hats and boots. Okay. Intro and conclusion. Elevating rhetorical devices. Use rhetorics. And how do we refine? Three ways to refine. Know your word count, paraphrasing, and division. Okay, ma'am's written everything. Okay, and lastly is repeat. Okay, repeat your enough number of times where you find confidence in your speech and know all the nooks and corners. Then comes presenting. How do you present? You have master your appearance, voice, body, stage, and the audience, right? And what is the pro tip? Believable. Yeah. Thank you so much. Through repetition. So with that note, what more do you want to know?
Eligibility for the contest.
Eligibility for the contest is two.
The ballots was the parameters on which the judge these things.
Sorry, I didn't understand. Sir. What is that?
Will we get to see the ballot?
Yeah, ballots available, sir. I can share it to you on the group. Or, I mean, if you just give ISC ballot Toastmasters and first link, it will show you. And I didn't want to get into that because that was going to take a lot more time. Because ballot, they have put the entire ballot, and there's a second page where they have explained every single point. So I want everybody to go through that. Yeah, sure, sir. You just Google it, sir. ISC ballot Toastmasters. If you type, it will come. Yes. But if you have a group, I can send it across. I have it handy. Okay, I'll send it to Shalimam or someone. You can take it. Okay. They've put everything in detail. Yeah, sure. Good. So anything else? Yes, sir.
Which all are the recognized languages for the championship?
English.
Only English. Second one is how ChatGPT or AI can be used. That is either refinement or evaluation.
Are you okay? But evaluation, I don't think you can do much with GPT. You feed in the speech and you can say, but I don't know, sir. But I think only for scripting level it can help you make some changes. But I think it will take the soul out of the script, is what I feel. There is. Yeah. Yeah. But GPT,
Realize how powerful it is.
I have, sir, but there is one thing I would like to tell you. I recently, for the past 10 days or something, I deliberately write essays on certain topics, and I feed the same topic to a generative AI to give me ideas on that essay. There is absolutely no sense of personalization. That is where we take the advantage, we take the lead, and anybody,
That point is granted.
yeah.
Just for example, write an essay of 750 words on the evolution of telephony. 750 words, it will write how the telephony evolved. Example I'm
Correct.
giving.
Yes.
After the few years, because as a person, I do not know much about the speech which I am preparing.
True.
Okay,
That is
this is an area.
but an additional thought to that, right? But when you're, especially in a platform like Toastmasters or something, people expect you to bring in personal stories. That is something which it can't. Now, if I were to deliver a research presentation on what was the evolution of a telephone, then it probably can give you the factual figures of it. What's available on the internet, what's factual, it can give you. But when you deliver the speech, you will still not be able to bring in that sense of personalization with that script, right? So, but that was a damn good point, sir. I totally agree with you that it is growing, it is evolving, but some element of your life, if it does not understand, then there is a disparity between you and the machine, right? That is. Yeah, there is a clause, originality clause, that if you're referring to somebody else's context, there needs to be a.
I mean, given the analogy to this, photography contest, they used to say that everything has to be camera oriented. You fix your exposure, you fix your time, everything. And based on that, the original photo you give.
Right.
And then came your photo enhancing softwares, where you could actually make the photo look good.
Correct.
So when you started using that, the pictures were good, but you could never win a contest. Now they've included that in the photography contest. You can use the software to enhance the photos.
No, that is there. That is always, it is a gray area, but
Yeah,
that is
a gray
possible.
Like test match still being
Now they will say, because I think in the future it will be, right now also I'm pretty sure that the generative AI is becoming more of an assistant, where it gives you thoughts and where you can do things. But that's about it. There's nothing more in the future to do. I was about to ask that. So yeah, anything else?
So in the use of humor, would you suggest to avoid any kind of pitfalls? Because humor can be very
Humor. Yes. So knowing your audience comes into play. So, for example, now if I were to go to a corporate setup, I would definitely make corporate humor, right? So, if I'm talking about something, if I bring in a manager joke or say, okay, if I'm doing this, my manager will kill me, people will laugh at that for sure. Now, if I go again, if I'm at the corporate setup, then if I bring in probably a parliament joke or something, or maybe a college humor or something, people may or may not relate. So there is a risk factor associated. But if I'm going to make a manager joke, 100% people will. So knowing your audience comes into play there. And also, for example, there are some very generic humor people resort to, right? For example, you make a joke on a person's accent, right? Now everybody has a different accent. People have accents, and people imitating the other character, they're not being disrespectful. They're just imitating it. But it becomes humorous because of what our perception is or our stereotypes are, right? So knowing if that will work or not is another important factor. That is with respect to language. And there are another few like mom dad jokes. Now if I bring in a joke saying, okay, my mom will kill my dad if he says so and so. So these are things which will 100%. So knowing what kind of humor to play at what place, it is very
Just to take a tad further, the stand-up comedians generally ask a question to the audience and then make fun of them. That is something that needs to be avoided, I thought.
No, sir, IST will not have that much time. 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, with that note,
Thank you so much, Toastmasters Sumaya. Very informative. To move to that level, a few like simple practices which you need to make is that keep attending your Toastmasters meeting, learn. We will go, inshallah, to that level. This is what I have said. I request you all to give, like one round of one minute. Now to move on, I request our evaluator, second evaluator, Anand Ramchandran, to give guidelines.
Purpose of this speech, the next speaker, to listen attentively, especially during a table topic, and look for phrases that the speaker has spoken about, and how do you bring that in your evaluations or while you are taking the table topic to the next question. Also, being attentive is one of the main criteria of your speech, and you put down the way table topics are conducted is one of the criteria. With that, I hand it over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Toastmasters Anand. To say a few words about our table topic master today, he is currently playing the corporate game and believes in networking. He likes public speaking, which is one of the reasons he has joined Toastmasters. He is an artist and loves music. He believes that happiness should come from within ourselves and we should always look forward to be happy. I please welcome Toastmasters Bhive.
What is the
Conducting a table topics and
what is the
yes, I think it should be 12 to 15 minutes, but we'll try to wrap it up quickly. Okay, we are okay, then it's fine. Late for you? No, I had to wait for my evaluator, so. Impromptu? Okay, let me. No. What was the key thing that we picked up from today's session? If I have to ask about one takeaway, well, what would it be? You were the presenter.
It's okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So that closely ties to generalization, what it spoke about, right? So we have a story, but how do you connect with the audience that is listening to it?
For me, it was the parachute bit, but I think what you spoke about uniqueness. So how to pack that punch in a unique way of parachute.
My takeaway is limit to the limitless. That is what
Hit the books or you're great to hit the floor. All right, so let's get back on track. We have a table topic session today. And before I start, I want to ask a couple of things. When you create a speech, what do you have to keep in mind? I'll give you a hint, ECC, which someone spoke about. No, your speech should contain ECC. What is it? Emotion, curiosity, clarity. Very good. So I expect to see some of that in your table topics today. And how do you structure it? How do you structure it? What are the three things? Yeah, how to structure a speech? Yeah, what is it called? Your personalization, your revelation and justification, and generalization. So I expect to see all this in our table topics today. And so it's general. So I've tried to congeal some of the generalized topics that we see in our day-to-day life and see how we can, bring that into a warming trend in our day-to-day lives. So I have a list of questions here, and as usual, I would call for volunteers, and if I don't see any volunteers, I'll individually pick up names. So we'll spare our keynote speaker today because he's spoken for 45 minutes. Come on, I want a first volunteer. Sunil. question is, music is the only way to remove stress. Agree or disagree, and why? Timer, please note it's 1 to 2 minutes.
Music is certainly one of the best ways to remove stress. Depends on the mood that you're in. The same song can become sad. The same song can be, enhance your mood. It just depends the mood that you're in. One way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is to look at it positively, find only positives in the lyrics or the music, and let it enhance your mood. So I would say it is also dependent on how you control it rather than the music controlling you. You should allow it to control you enough so that you get out of it positively. And music can be a de-stressor, especially when we have long days, long travels. Something that we are not comfortable with is usually the source of stress. So music can be a way to get out of it. And over to you, dear Modi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunil. Definitely a very good take and very good insight. Very good insight. Music definitely depends on the mood that we are in, and I think that's why most of the music companies that we know about talk about Spotify, talk about Wing Music, has different playlists for different moods as well. And thanks to Gen AI that you spoke about, it can identify your mood depending on your playlist as well. All right, moving on. Who is my next volunteer? We don't have time. Come on. Yes, please.
Or should pick the chit?
Yes, you can.
Which is the best chit to pick?
A healthy mind is needed for a healthy body. Agree or disagree, and why? A healthy mind is needed for a healthy body.
Thank you, Table Topic Master, Toastmaster Bopaya. I think I believe in this quote 200%. It's not a healthy body that leads to a healthy mind, it's the healthy mind that leads to the healthy body. And I do have this practice of doing meditation and visualization every single day. And sometimes, because we have so much of work in our day-to-day life, we do have some aches and pains. But in the end, I always tell myself that I did my best today. My mind was very fresh from morning till evening. Imagine a day like Wednesday where I start my day at 10 a.m. in the morning. I have one training session which happens till 12:30. Then I come all the way to M0 to conduct another training session that gets over at 4 o'clock. And then I come to Toastmasters meeting and I'm here till 8 o'clock, 8:30. Still very fresh. So I think it is all what we feed to our mind becomes our reality. I 100% believe in this. If we think of ourselves that we are not okay or we don't have a healthy body, is what the body becomes finally. And I learned this very interesting thing from my yoga guru who said, just like our keynote speaker also spoke about self-awareness, which is even if I have any aches or pains, the more aware I am about that, the more quickly I would say I will get rid of it. So it is definitely the healthy mind only which leads to the healthy body. And we have some stalwart examples, celebrities in life who have proven that, where it is what you feed to your mind, you constantly keep telling yourself that is what you become. Once again, I would like to mention that if you are mentally very strong, it's because you talk strong things to yourself. The audio digital connect which you have with yourself should be very, very powerful. What you tell yourself is more important than what the world perceives of you. Definitely, a healthy mind leads to a healthy body. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shalini. Very well articulated about how we need to have audio digital connect within our body. And you also spoke about a lot of gurus. Of course, there are a lot of people who talk about meditation these days. And believe it or not, it is very, very important leading our stressful lives. I think it also leads to manifestation where you think what you become. And that is what is required for a healthy body as well. All right, moving on. I think I'll request Rao sir to come and take up a topic.
Thank you.
It's okay.
It's okay. We are more active and happier on Fridays than any other days? Agree or disagree, and why?
Today is Friday, and I am very happy. Irrespective of what name we give, the day we are happy, it is a Friday. If not, make it so. Why not? The topic is given so that we can relate to the week and the weekend. As I understand, Friday means the beginning of the weekend. So the beginning of celebration. What I say is, why not every day is a celebration? So why not make it a Friday? Is it Friday today? Let's make it so. The point is, like the previous speaker said, the body and the feel or the mind, they are related. If we feel good, we remain healthy. The other way is also true. Some old saying, if the body is good, the mind also will remain good. It's both ways. So the point is, if we think that today is Friday, today is a weekend, it is weekend.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ram Rao sir. Very well said. In fact, it's the way we perceive every day. We speak about Monday morning blues, but I think if we look our day in the positive sense, then I think we can make every day as a Friday, irrespective of which day of the week it is. I think we'll have time for one more, if that's okay. Yeah. Can I have my last speaker? So you want to take it up? Huh? Simple life is the true life. Agree or disagree, and why?
Personally, I love simple life. Too many of here and there makes me unhappy. I am not able to focus myself. I feel like if I am given a single work for a day, it makes me happy. If I need to do two works, maybe it like my wife asks me, today get me some vegetable. Okay, while coming back, get me curd. Then I forget. Because vegetable, okay. While buying the vegetable, okay. Then after going to the next store, makes me, I forget. Always I forget. They say, oh, there is no curd. Sorry, yeah. Always you forget. So it's like that only. Simple life, simple way. It's make me happy. If I need to do something twice, two things, three things, any way you can take. If like my son asked me, Dad, I want to go for a movie, and then after watching the movie, he said, Dad, I want to stay with my friend for evening this thing night sleeping and what they call pajama sleeping and sleepover and all. I don't like. So I say, uh, you tell me in the one word only. What do you want? So simple life, one thinking, it makes me happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vikas, for that insight into your personal life on a on a personal note. And yes, of course, it makes sense. If you have everything ready, it makes our life simpler, and it makes us easy to identify the things around us and work towards it. So with that, I hope you had a good time with table topics. I wish I could do more, but we don't wish, unfortunately, running out of time. Thanks everyone for your participation, and over to you, Dean.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhuppaya. Coming to the last segment is the general evaluation segment. I request Toastmasters Anand Ramchandran to lead evaluation on the total bit.
Thank
Thank you, Toastmaster Habib. What else can I evaluate? Somaya. He had his kiss, and it was hard, long, and unique. His body language was absolutely spot on. Movement, he had his nine parts marked out well. And moving from one to the other, he was actually teaching you how exactly it had to be. You went through the whole process of ISC like ice. It was clean, precise, and as you said, relatable. And wherever you said you had to bring in the rhetoric, you actually had examples to say how to make it better. And I for one, like to do some research before I go into any places. So when we said today we are going to hear you talk about ice contest, I was hearing to Katani and his speech on the award-winning speech on the power of words. So I saw everything in his speech today, and I think we have Suman Somaya and not Katani, who will be replacing it on the YouTube channel. And it's not, the time is not too far off, and I'm sure you should be there. And the other thing is to evaluate our table topic speech master today. I had some nice things that I observed today. You always bring that oomph factor when you are a table topic master. The twists and turns are always nice. You capture the audience interest very emphatically. One thing that I saw was you had your RAM cleaned out nice and clean before you started it, so that you could listen to everybody speak and record it nicely. Our Vikas ji, I thought his thoughts were going faster than his speech, but you could actually grab the gist of what he wanted to talk about and put it together very nice and clean. Some places of improvement for you. For all the great things in the presence, the twists and the turns, I would like to see a little more energy in your voice. And your hand movements, probably, for me, it looks like a little more robotic. Make it a little more fluid when you have your hand movements coming up. That's the whole thing. That apart, you are brilliant on this stage. You tick all the boxes in your evaluation sheet as excellent, 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 excellent. Thank you so much. You're going to insult Suman Somaya if you talk like that. Everyone started on time, ended on time.
It's not an insult because he has taken the permission to stay, right? That's fine.
8:35. Give you 5.
No insult or anything like that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Everyone was on time and finished on time. Thank you so much. May I take the permission of presiding officer to take 5 additional minutes, sir? It's 8:35. Thank you so much. The grammarian is going to now open a Renan Martin book and say where we went right, where we went wrong.
I could hear from Bhupaya word of the day, kanji. Notable strengths includes clear sentences, structure, phrases, and good vocabulary. Areas of improvement were incomplete sentences, repetition of words. To enhance our communication skills, I recommend practicing complete sentences, reviewing and usage of sentences and structure. Overall, participants demonstrated a good grasp of grammar fundamentals. By addressing these areas, we can make our communication more effective. Just as water congeals into ice, our team's efforts are coming together to form a solid foundation for effective communications.
That was superbly done. And now let's see if our engine was purring nicely or it had a lot of screech and creak. From the R counter, the report from
I kept my ears very active and alert, and except for our TM body, that is Habib, who used and certain pauses and repetitions, and our speaker of the day, like she said, he used repeated certain words. For example, the word right. It was quite often used. It will be habitual. That is, whenever people speak, they use certain words. Right. I think it is a habitual this thing for you.
Right.
Except for that. Otherwise, in table topics, our friend Vikas was doing pause and all that. Other than that, everybody else was perfect.
Super. Thank you so much. And this.
Some words like right.
Hand over the stage to dear Modi. Now, to end the meeting, I request our presiding officer, Santosh Kejriwal, to come and take over the meeting.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are running out of time. So, are we having the voting list today? Maybe? No? Yes, yes. For me? Come on, Mr. Somaya Tostmasters. That's quite heavy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we will pick up pictures.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Your hand should be down, taking.
You get the best place.
Yes.
You see something that you are not.
Thank you so much. There's an important announcement that I have to make now. Toastmaster of the month for the month of January. Any guesses? Huh? Very good. Huh? Next. Toastmaster of the month. Put your hands together and welcome Toastmaster Shalini. Madam, you have got the start in something?
Playing Inky Pinky Ponky with the start line, not knowing what to do. See, what an honor, President.
Huh? How much did you give to Ramdas?
Sir, I've not seen him in such a long time. Thank you, thank you.
One more award is there. I don't know whether that star pin is there for this or not. It is the buddy team of the month. Which are the buddy teams? Can you answer? One is Power Pulse. Next. Hmm. Shalini, what is the buddy team? Name. Nam. What is the name of the buddy team? Buddy group. Okay. Or, then Vikas was also one of the leaders. Vikas, what is the name of your buddy team? What is the name of your buddy team? Vikas, what is the name of your buddy team?
We the winners. We the winners.
Huh? The award for the best buddy team goes to Soul Searchers. Who is that? Who is that Soul Searchers? Huh? Who is that? So no one remembers that? Huh? It's you. Don't remember that. Huh? How can you? Huh? Soul Searchers.
See, maybe my team's name is seen here. So
Wait, Soul Searchers, is it Bopaya?
yeah, because Bopaya, Chandrasekhar.
Ah, Vikas is there, no, correct. So, who's the leader?
I'm the leader.
Vikas is the leader. Vikas is the leader.
Yes.
Ah.
That's why he kept on telling
Thank you. Keep it simple.
भाई साहब अच्छा वो पीछे तो ढोकला खिला खिला के जीत गया सर जी एक फोटो लीजिए
Congratulations to the Soul Searchers. The Soul Searchers team can come on the stage and take place. Thank you. Done?
Thank you so much, sir.
Next week, same time, same place. What are you going to have? Same time, same place. It will be the ISC club contest at this place. I want all of you completing level 2. Please give your names, practice, and as our guest speaker, give all the tips. Take all the tips and perform over here. So we'll have one winner to go to the next level, and I'm sure one of us will definitely go to the district level also. So with this, I'd like to adjourn the meeting. I think that the snacks are also waiting. I adjourn meeting number 248. Good night. Thank you.
Yeah.